Heartbreaking truth revealed, Billionaire'S secret affair exposed by pregnant wife and lawyer. Emily Carter stared at the headline, her chest tight and breath hitching. How did her life come to this? Just weeks away from welcoming her second child, she felt like a storm was brewing inside her. The warm, sunlit suburb of Maplewood, with its neatly trimmed lawns and gleaming driveways, now felt like a gilded cage, hiding the suffocating despair she couldn't shake off. Whispers of her husband Tyler's betrayal echoed in the community center, the heart of their town, tainting everything she once cherished. In Maplewood, everything looked perfect. Families gathered for bake sales and children played in the parks, but beneath the surface lay a web of secrets and lies. Emily had always found solace in her friends, Mike and Leah. They were the embodiment of resilience. Leah, the single mother, working tirelessly to provide for her daughter. Mike, a veteran struggling to find work amid a gentle flood of obligation. They were her lifelines, their laughter sometimes piercing the thick veil of sorrow that enveloped her heart. Emily, you've got this, Leah urged, her eyes bright with determination. They met over coffee at the cafe where the aroma of fresh pastries clashed with the bitter taste of betrayal. It felt comforting and suffocating all at once. Emily hadn't asked for any of this. She didn't want to feel like this, but even as she fought against despair, the simmering anger started bubbling over. The day she confronted Tyler feels like a movie playing in her mind, her heart racing, hands shaking, standing in their stylish living room, the same place they celebrated anniversaries and family gatherings. How could you? She demanded, her voice trembling, searching his eyes for any trace of remorse. Yet his charm danced like a shadow over the truth, and his wealth blurred the lines of guilt, everything twisted in a careless charade. Emily had hoped for honesty, wrapped in the soft glow of their memories, but instead, she faced the cold reality of being made a fool. What she didn't know then was how her lawyer would soon present evidence that shattered those remnants of trust. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Emily processed the revelations, the betrayal, the conspiracy of economic inequality threatening Maplewood, she felt an unwavering resolve. Her vision sharpened. Could she really forgive him? The question almost stung as it hung in the air, a knife poised at her fragile heart. Every shared laugh, every memory felt like a razor-sharp whisper, pushing her to anger. She was tired of being the good wife, the pillar of strength. A message from Leah flashed on her phone, a stark reminder that the affair's repercussions reached beyond her shattered heart. Emily, it's worse than you think. Feeling the weight of her dreams crumbling around her, she took a deep breath, her determination igniting like a wildfire. She wasn't just fighting for herself, this was about family, integrity. Emily stood on the precipice of a decision, the uncertain path forward calling to her heart. Would she tackle the injustices swirling like a tempest in Maplewood? The answer trembled on her lips as her world spun, the community watching, the future hanging precariously in the balance. Emily sat at the kitchen table, the sunlight streaming through the window, illuminating the chaos of her life. The remnants of a family breakfast lay abandoned, the plates untouched since Tyler had stormed out. She felt the weight of the world pressing down, fears of single motherhood and betrayal overlapping in her mind like a suffocating blanket. Leah's message echoed in her thoughts. It's worse than you think. What did that even mean? Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone, her resolve still lingering despite the chaos within. The truth was a dangerous path, one she had only begun to navigate. She needed to know what was lurking just beneath the surface, ready to unravel her entire existence. Maybe I should talk to Leah, she whispered to herself, feeling the tiny life inside her shift restlessly as if sensing the turmoil. She dialed Leah's number, her heart pounding. Leah answered on the second ring, her voice warm but concerned. Emily! Is everything okay? It's not, Emily replied, her voice breaking. What did you mean by that message? What's worse? Silence filled the air, stretching into an eternity. Then Leah exhaled slowly. I heard some things. I didn't want you to feel overwhelmed. But if Tyler is doing this, it could impact everything. Not just your trust, but even how he treats, well, custody or finances. You might not be the only one in danger. Emily felt her breath hitch. Are you saying he has other affairs? Other women? Her heart raced with a mix of dread and anticipation. Not just that, but his business partners. I think they might know. And if they're involved, there's no telling how deep this goes. Leah's voice carried the weight of worry. Hot anger surged within Emily, mingling with fear and desperation. How could Tyler, her husband, the man she vowed to love, betray her in such a damaging way? Memories of their first date, the laughter shared during vacations, felt like a cruel joke now, distorted by the truth Leah revealed. I can't just sit here. I need to see if it's true, she said, steeling herself. I need to confront him again. Are you sure that's wise? He might lash out, Leah cautioned, but Emily was resolute. I won't let him manipulate me anymore. I can't be afraid of him or anyone else. This is my life. My children are at stake, she insisted. With a quick goodbye, she hung up and started pacing the kitchen, each step a beat of determination against the doubts that loomed over her. The thought of what Tyler might be involved in ignited a new fire in her spirit. Innocence lost needed to be reclaimed. She would be the architect of her future. As she gathered the courage to face her husband, Emily felt a glimmer of hope. Defiance surged through her like a wave, washing away the last remnants of weakness. She wasn't just going to stand by while everything unraveled. No more silence. No more blind trust. With one last glance at the uneaten breakfast, she reiterated her dogged purpose. It's time to take control. As she stepped out into the warm Maplewood sun, she prepared herself for whatever awaited, the community both a witness and potential ally in her battle. Then, just as she reached for her car keys, a shadow crossed her vision. It was Mike, holding a stack of papers with a remorseful look on his face. Emily, wait! You don't know everything yet. There's something I have to tell you. Her heart raced again, uncertainty mixing with curiosity. What else was hidden from her view? What more awaited in the storm? Emily stood frozen as Mike approached, a storm of emotion swirling within her. His expression was grave, a stark contrast to the bright day outside. Mike, what do you mean? She asked, her voice trembling. He shifted the stack of papers in his hands, revealing a range of documents, contracts, text messages, even some photographs. I came to warn you. Tyler's been involved in something much bigger than just affairs. This goes beyond betrayal, Emily. It's business dealings that could endanger everything. Your children's future, your home, all of it. Emily felt the breath catch in her throat. What are you saying? Business dealings? Like what? I need you to be clear with me, she demanded, her heart pounding against her chest, each beat demanding answers. Tyler's been mixing his finances with some shady partners. I suspect they're involved in illegal activities. If they find out you're aware, they won't hesitate to silence anyone who might threaten them. That includes you. Silence enveloped them, the weight of his words heavy in the air. Her mind raced, piecing together snippets of conversations, late nights, and secrets. Nothing had prepared her for this. Why should I trust you? Emily's voice trembled with doubt. Because I'm here to help, he said urgently, stepping closer. I hate seeing you in this situation, and I know you deserve the truth. Besides, this situation is bigger than just your marriage, Emily. If these people are involved, you need to protect yourself and your kids. She glanced at the papers, then back at Mike. How do you know all of this? I've been looking into Tyler's business dealings for a while now before this blew up. He is not the man you think he is. His partners are ruthless. They won't play nice if they feel threatened, Mike said, his eyes filled with a mix of concern and resolve. The ground beneath her felt unsteady, each revelation sending tremors through her mind. Emily took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. What do I do? You need to gather your strength and be ready to confront him, but with caution. You need to protect yourself while you figure out how deep this goes. I can help you build a case. The implications threatened to drown her. A case? For what? For everything he has hidden from you. For your safety and your children's future. You may need to take legal action moving forward, he replied earnestly. Emily's heart raced, swirling emotions of fear and determination battling for dominance. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe he would do this to me, to us. Mike's expression softened, his gestures comforting. You're not alone in this. You're stronger than you think, Emily. We can work together. An unexpected ally in the storm that was both a promise and a threat. Could she trust him? Even in pain, she recognized that she needed someone to help her fight back. But the danger loomed larger than she imagined, stretching far beyond her shattered marriage. Okay, she said finally, the word hanging in the air like a fragile promise. Let us figure this out. As Mike handed her the documents, Emily felt the cold paper against her skin. Each page felt like a tether to the truth she had to face. The warmth of the day suddenly felt distant, overshadowed by the storm brewing ahead. More questions swirled in her mind. Just how deep did this rabbit hole go? And could she truly navigate through it without losing everything she held dear? Emily! Mike's voice broke through her thoughts. Before you do anything, promise me you'll be careful. These people are dangerous. She nodded, though the uncertainty gnawed at her. I will. I have to think. With her heart pounding and the papers gripped tightly, she knew one thing. She was racing against time. The shadows felt closer, but Emily was ready to shine a light on the darkness. But was she prepared for what she would uncover? The truth could change everything. Emily paced the small living room, the papers rustling in her grasp, a chaotic reminder of the whirlwind that had turned her world upside down. The sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the dust particles dancing in the air, but the warmth did little to ease the chill in her heart. Did she actually have the courage to confront Tyler? Was she ready to face a truth so big it could shatter everything she thought she knew? Okay, think, Emily. What do you know? She whispered to herself, a weak attempt to harness her racing thoughts. Brief flashes from her past flashed before her. Tyler's charming smile, their shared laughter, promises of forever entwined in their happy family life. But those memories felt marred now, tainted by the shadow of betrayal. She bit her lip, recalling the late nights when Tyler was working late. How he always brushed her concerns aside, insisting everything was fine. Had it all been a lie? The phone buzzed suddenly, jarring her from her reverie. It was Mike again. Just seeing his name sent a wave of anxiety through her. Why was he still reaching out? After a deep breath, she accepted the call, the sound crackling on the line. Emily, Mike's voice was steady, a grounding presence. Have you thought any more about what we talked about? I don't know what to think, Emily stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. How do I begin to connect all these dots? How do I confront Tyler when I know he could explode? Start simple. Gather the evidence. Make a plan. And remember, you're not just doing this for yourself. It's for your kids too, he urged, the sincerity in his tone echoing the gravity of the situation. With each word, she felt a flicker of resolve. Her children needed her to be strong, to stand up against anything that might threaten their security. She could be that mother, drawing from an inner reservoir of strength she hadn't known existed. What if he denies it? What if he turns it around on me? Panic crept up again, and she felt her hands tremble as they clutched the papers. They will. But you'll have the backup you need. Those documents are powerful, Emily. Evidence of something much more sinister than just an affair. Use them wisely, he replied with quiet conviction. Taking a deep, steadying breath, she finally spoke with a determined edge in her voice. Okay, I'll confront him tonight. But I want you there too. I need you as a witness. All right. Just remember, no matter what he says, you are strong. You're stronger than you think. The call ended, leaving Emily in her own thoughts once again. She felt the whirlwind swirling in her chest. Fear mingled with a steely resolve she hadn't felt before. Gripping the papers tightly, she knew this was a defining moment. One way or another, she would get answers. The clock ticked louder with each passing second. Evening would fall soon, and she had to navigate this unfolding storm carefully. What if she found something more destructive than she imagined? What if she lost everything she loved in one night? As night descended slowly, shadows crept into every corner of her home, mirroring the heaviness in her heart. There was no turning back. On this path, she was bound to uncover something monumental, something that could alter her family's future forever. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Tyler stepped in, oblivious to the storm brewing within the walls. He flashed that familiar smile, but it felt more like an illusion now. Emily's heart raced, a mix of dread and catharsis awaiting her. "Hey there, what's for dinner?" he asked casually, yet his nonchalance only deepened the tension in the air. Could she really go through with it? Taking a deep breath, she felt the flickering embers of resolve ignite into a flame. "We need to talk, Tyler, but would the truth lift them or tear them further apart?" As he turned to face her, the world faded, leaving just the two of them and a truth that could unravel everything. Emily's voice hung in the air like a heavy fog, thick with unspoken words and overlooked truths. She watched as Tyler's expression shifted from casual curiosity to sudden concern. "Talk? About what?" His eyebrows knit together as he stepped further into the room, the door closing softly behind him. Emily's heart thudded painfully in her chest, the emotional chaos swirling within her demanding release. "About us," she said, her voice more steady than she felt. She motioned to the couch, inviting him to sit, but it was more of a command in disguise. "This isn't easy for me, Tyler. But I can't keep pretending anymore." He sank into the cushion, his body language suddenly tense, like a coiled spring ready to unravel. "What are you talking about? Is this about the kids?" "They're doing fine. No, it's about you. It's about us." She spat out, anger and fear colliding. Her spirit flared with adrenaline, and her hands clenched around the papers she'd gathered. "I found out some things, Tyler. Things you never wanted me to know." His face paled, and she fleetingly felt a pang of sympathy. But there was no time for softness now. "You've been lying to me. I know about your late nights. The texts. The whispers behind closed doors and who you've been seeing." He looked taken aback, confusion creeping into his features. "Emily, whatever you think you've found, no," she interrupted, rising to her feet, adrenaline surging through her. "You don't get to deny this. Not anymore." She slammed the papers onto the coffee table, the sound echoing in the now awkward silence. "What the hell is that?" His voice dripped with a mix of bravado and fear, eyes darting between her and the table where their lives were laid out in stark reality. "Legal documents," she said, voice trembling but resolute. "Proof of what you've done. Proof that you've been unfaithful." "I thought I could ignore it, but I can't." Emily took a step closer, the papers trembling in her shaking hands. "I deserve honesty. So do our kids." Tyler's expression hardened, his defensiveness rising like a tide. "You don't understand this isn't what it looks like. It was a mistake, Emily. Nothing more." "Nothing more?" she scoffed, feeling the betrayal flood through her. "And what about the promises, Tyler? The vows we made? Or did you just toss those aside when it got hard?" For a brief moment, their eyes locked, a turbulent mix of love, anger, and hurt swirling like storm clouds. Emily's vision blurred with unshed tears, the weight of their lives crashing down on her. "Emily," he pleaded, his voice softer now, yet unyielding. "I can explain. Just give me a chance. I've been under so much pressure. Pressure?" The incredulity in her voice rang out, sharper than glass. "Pressure for what? To betray your family? To break us?" In that moment, everything felt suspended. The walls echoed with their unresolved tension, and for a fleeting second, Emily thought he might finally understand. But instead, Tyler's frustration boiled over. "You're not being rational. You're letting someone else influence you," he countered, his voice rising as the reality of his situation pressed in around him. Mike? You really believe he's here for you? Just the mention of Mike made her freeze. Emily had sought comfort from him in her confusion, but that wasn't the point. This isn't about him. It's about you and me. I'm fighting for our family. Fighting doesn't look like this, he snapped, rising to meet her gaze. This is chaos. You'll ruin everything. For what? To chase a ghost? Maybe it's a ghost you created. She shot back, her heart pounding in her throat. You've haunted me with this for too long. Either fight for us now, or let me go. As silence sank in, the tension coiling tighter, the shadows flickered, mirroring the turmoil of their relationship. Each hesitation nestled deeper into the pit of Emily's stomach. But just then, a child's soft giggle floated from the hallway, a simple reminder of what they stood to lose. Emily and Tyler both turned. Mom? Dad? What's going on? It was Mia, their youngest, wide-eyed and innocent. Emily's heart clenched. How would they ever explain this? Nothing, sweetie, just a discussion, Tyler said quickly, but his tone betrayed panic. It wouldn't matter to me as she would sense the tension, the unraveling of their family threads woven tight until now. As Emily's chest tightened, unsure of the next step, she heard Tyler whisper, "Let us finish this later." But was there even a later left to finish? She turned to face him, determination burning. You may think this is over, but it's only just begun. Would the truth break them apart, or could it also bring them back together? As the uncertainty hung thick in the air, Emily knew one thing for sure: the night was far from over. Emily's heartbeat drummed in her ears as she shared that fraught moment with Tyler. The innocence of Mia's question hung heavily above them, a painful reminder that their children were woven into the fabric of this unraveling situation. Mom? Dad? Please, are you okay? Mia's voice pulled Emily back to reality, fragile yet determined as she stood there, clutching her doll, her eyes searching. Yeah, honey, Emily forced a smile, but it felt so brittle against her churning emotions. Everything's fine. Tyler, his face a mix of relief and anger, quickly knelt down to Mia's level. We're just talking about some adult stuff, sweetheart. You don't need to worry. Mia nodded, still a bit hesitant, her little brow furrowed in confusion. Okay, can we have ice cream later? Emily's heart melted slightly at the innocence of childhood, the way it could cut through the tension. Sure, we can do that. As Mia scurried back to her toys, Emily felt the weight of the moment return. Tyler straightened up, his earlier bravado faltering. You didn't have to do that. You know it's not fine. His voice was low, but there was an edge to it. And pretend we're okay for her sake? That's not who we are anymore, Tyler. The papers still lay between them, silently accusing, but instead of the anger rising like before, there was a thread of vulnerability weaving into this confrontation. What do you want from me, Emily? His voice cracked, revealing traces of the boy she fell in love with. You keep throwing those papers around like they're the blueprint to our marriage. What do you expect me to say? Emily took a deep breath. I want you to stop hiding and fighting. I want to understand why you thought this was okay. For a moment, Tyler looked lost. I don't know, he replied, the wall between them starting to crumble. Pressure, fear. I thought it was easier to escape than face it. He ran a hand through his hair, the weight of his admission settling in the air between them, heavy but palpable. Easier? Running away? Anger bubbled back up, but softened too, as she considered the possibility of his struggle being real. You hurt us both. And for what? A fleeting moment of escape? You're right, his voice dropped to a whisper. But it worsened everything. None of it matters anymore. I don't want. His words faded as he looked down at the papers on the table. I was scared of losing you. I am afraid of losing you too, she confessed, her voice trembling. But honesty is what's left for us to hold on to. Can we do that together? Or are we trapped in this endless cycle of hurt? Tyler's eyes met hers, the storm within him visible, a blend of regret and yearning. What if we try? Just for the kids? Can we start fresh? Emily hesitated. Starting fresh felt daunting, like standing on the edge of a cliff, blindfolded. But then she remembered Mia's laughter, the warmth of their family on good days, the dreams they shared. It can't just be for the kids, Tyler. It has to be for us, too. As they stood there, the air thick with unspoken promises and the weight of everything they stood to lose or gain, time seemed to stretch. Each second felt like an invitation to step toward one another or pull away. Can we at least face each other honestly, starting now? She asked, stepping closer. He nodded slowly, a fragile hope igniting in his gaze. Yeah. I want that. I want to be better for you, for us. But just as they seemed to bridge the gap, the reality of the moment crashed back in. The sound of the door creaking open made them jump, and there stood their eldest, Jake, with an expression that could only be described as worry. Mom, Dad, is everything okay? He asked, the concern in his eyes a mixture of childish innocence and burgeoning understanding. Emily's heart sank. They weren't alone anymore, but the battle for their family wasn't either. It's okay, Jake. Just a talk. Yet, she could see the uncertainty lingering. Did they truly seem okay? As she glanced back at Tyler, the weight of the moment grew heavier. Could their fragile honesty survive scrutiny from their son? And would it be enough for the storm that was yet to come? Jake, Tyler faltered, unsure where to go next. Emily could feel the pull of the past and the promise of the future twisting around her. Perhaps truth was the first step, but it wouldn't work without trust. As the shadows extended around them, one thing was clear: this battle was just beginning, and Emily had to decide how deep she was willing to dig for her family's sake. Would love be enough to hold them together, or would it break under the weight of revelations yet to come? Jake's brow knitted, and he shifted his weight from one foot to the other. It was a stance all too familiar, the kind of small physical dance that told Emily he sensed something deeper was at play. You're acting weird, he murmured, scrutinizing their faces with an earnestness that made Emily's heart flutter with a mix of love and dread. Just some grown-up stuff, Tyler said quickly, but his tone felt forced. Emily could see the way he fidgeted, the lack of confidence in his posture that she had come to recognize so well over the past few months. Mia's laughter suddenly echoed from the other room, a contrast to the tension hanging in the air. It reminded Emily of the light they were fighting for, the innocence they needed to protect. Can you go back and play with your sister for a bit? Emily suggested, trying to coax Jake away from this heavy moment, hoping he wouldn't dig deeper. Jake cocked his head, uncertainty etched across his young face. But I want to know what's going on. Are you guys fighting? No, we're not fighting, Tyler interjected swiftly, though the distress in his voice betrayed him. We're just figuring things out. Adult things. Why does it feel like a storm is brewing? Jake pressed, his voice rising with that familiar urge for truth. Time seemed to stretch, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last, as Emily pored over the weight of her son's words. Sometimes storms can lead to clearer skies, Emily said, more to herself than Jake. She wanted to believe that. She had to. But the uncertainty swirled around them like dark clouds, and honesty felt both like a lifeline and a perilous cliff. Do you guys still love each other? Jake asked, his gaze unwavering. The question hung heavy, and the truth felt like a nail embedded in her throat. Mia's innocence had been a spark of hope. Jake's directness was cutting. Emily could feel Tyler's eyes on her, seeking her response just as much. Of course, she finally replied, forcing the words past her lips. We're just learning how to show it better, right, Tyler? Right, he echoed with a nod, though his expression suggested he was questioning it just as much. Jake seemed to absorb their answers, although the doubts still shadowed him. Okay, just promise me, if you're gonna fight, do it somewhere else? Emily let out a small chuckle at his earnest plea, a rain of warmth washing over her at the innocence in Jake's concern. We promise. No fighting. As Jake retreated, Emily felt a small wave of relief wash over her. She turned to Tyler, ready to dive back into their uncertain terrain, but a nagging anxiety gripped her. Do you think we're fooling them? Do we really have it in us to make this work? Can we truly face each other? He echoed her earlier question, but this time, it felt like a challenge. Can we? she murmured. Can we peel back all these layers and still like what we see? Tyler stepped closer, the air vibrating with the weight of their words. We have to try, he said, his voice steadier now, as though he believed in the both of them just enough to fight back against the gravity of the situation. But then, as they stood on the edge of this new alliance, Emily's phone buzzed sharply on the table, cutting sharply through the fragile moment. She glanced at it, and her heart fell. It was a message from Sarah, her sister. Urgent. I need to talk. It's about Tyler. Tyler shifted uncertainly as he noticed her expression, confusion replacing hope. What's wrong? I don't know. The words felt thick and heavy. She opened the message, dismayed at what she read. There's something she wants to tell me, something about your past. His eyes went wide, and in that second, all the air felt like it had been whipped out of the room. The promise of truth they had just forged suddenly felt like it was hanging by a thread, and Emily realized that the storms outside might not be the only ones they needed to weather. What else had been brewing beneath the surface? And could they really face everything together, knowing it could change everything once again? I think we may need to talk, she whispered, dread creeping into her tone. About what? Tyler asked, the worry in his voice becoming an echo of her own rising uncertainty. As they stood at the crossroads of revelation, Emily felt the first raindrops of that storm begin to fall, both inside their home and out. Would what lied ahead bring clarity or chaos? Emily's heart raced as she set the phone down, her mind whirling with the implications of Sarah's message. The weight of uncertainty wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. She had tried so hard to build a bridge back to Tyler, but this new storm felt like a flood that could wash it all away. What does she mean about my past? Tyler's voice broke the silence, thick with confusion and a hint of fear. Emily felt the warmth of their earlier moments slip away, replaced by a chill that crawled under her skin. I don't know, she replied softly, making sure to keep her voice steady. But it sounds serious. His face twisted in thought, shadows crossing his features. What could she possibly have to say that would matter now? I've done everything I can to move on. The anguish in his voice pinched at her heart. Have you really? She challenged, a mix of anger and concern entering her tone. Are you truly ready to face your past, Tyler? Or are we just standing on the edge of another cliff, hoping we won't fall again? The silence that followed was deafening. Tyler's eyes darted away, as if searching for an answer on the walls that had witnessed their struggles. Emily felt the urge to comfort him but resisted. Comfort in this moment felt like a lie. Mia's laughter echoed again from the other room, a sound so innocent and pure that it shattered the tension momentarily. Emily could feel the heartbeat of their family, a siren call reminding her of what was at stake. Our kids deserve better than this, she murmured, more to herself than to Tyler. What are we even doing? His voice cracked, exposing the fragility of their meticulously crafted facade. I thought we were trying to fix things. How can we rebuild when outside forces are jumping in? Emily took a deep breath, trying to calm the tempest of emotions inside her. It's not just outside forces, Tyler. We need to face what's been left unsaid. What Sarah knows could change everything. If we want to survive this, we need to be honest. He nodded slowly, but the uncertainty lingered in his eyes. Okay, let us do it then. Let us face the truth. His words felt like both a promise and a challenge, and they both understood the gravity of that decision. Before she could respond, the doorbell rang, echoing through the tense atmosphere of their home like a warning. Emily shot a glance at Tyler, who looked equally startled. Who could that be? He asked, tension re-emerging in his voice. I don't know, she started, wiping her clammy palms on her jeans. Don't answer it. His tone was sharp, an instinctive reaction to protect their fragile moment. But the bell rang again, insistent and demanding. Emily felt a strange pull, a compulsion to see who might be standing there. Curiosity wrestled with fear. Maybe it's just a neighbor, she said, although in her gut, she felt something more was coming. As she moved toward the door, her heart pounded furiously. What if Sarah had sent someone? A rush of dread twisted in her stomach. What if this was the moment everything unraveled, With shaking hands, she turned the knob and opened the door. Standing there was a figure she hadn't seen in years, one that sent chills down her spine. The familiarity hit her like a freight train. "Emily," the voice called, laden with unspoken history and unresolved pain. She felt Tyler stiffen beside her as he caught sight of the unexpected visitor. The air thickened with tension, waves of uncertainty crashing over them again. Was this the revelation that would tear them apart, or could it somehow be the key to rebuilding their lives? As the door swung wider, the world beyond seemed to fade away. All that mattered was the moment stretched before them, teetering on the brink of everything they had feared. What had just stepped across their threshold, and would it bring devastation or the chance for a fresh start? Emily's breath caught in her throat at the sight of the figure standing at her doorstep. The years melted away, leaving only fragments of memories that rushed back like an old film. It was Jake, Tyler's childhood friend, the one who had disappeared when everything seemed to be crumbling around them. "Jake?" Tyler's voice was a mixture of disbelief and anger, a flicker of the past igniting an old flame that had never truly extinguished. "Hey, man," Jake said, shifting nervously. His eyes darted between Emily and Tyler, uncertainty etched on his face. "What are you doing here?" Tyler took a step forward, his body tense like a coiled spring. "It's complicated. I need to talk to you both." Emily felt an instinctive urge to close the door, to shield them from this surprise that felt like a tidal wave about to sweep across their fragile foundation. "Now is not a good time, Jake." "No, you don't understand. I wouldn't be here unless it was important. It's about Sarah." The name hung in the air, an invisible weight pressing down on them. Tyler's eyes narrowed. "What do you know?" Jake swallowed hard, his gaze settling on Emily. "I know things that could change everything. Things I wish I could forget." "Like what?" Emily pressed, each word slicing through the tension. A mix of dread and curiosity flooded her veins. She caught herself wishing they could retreat to that warmth they had shared before the doorbell had shattered it all. "Not here," Jake said suddenly. "Can we sit somewhere? I can't say everything out here." Emily exchanged a glance with Tyler, and the uncertainty mirrored in his eyes sent a chill through her. Every instinct screamed to be careful, yet a part of her knew they couldn't turn away now, not when everything felt perched on the edge of catastrophe. "Fine," Tyler finally conceded, stepping back to let Jake inside. The moment the door closed behind them, the tension shifted, becoming tangible. They settled into the living room, the air thick and electric. Jake took a deep breath, collecting his thoughts. "It's about the contract and the deals Sarah negotiated." "What contract?" Tyler asked, eyebrows knitting together in confusion. "Sarah is representing you, Tyler. There were terms you were never informed about, things that could affect what happens next." Emily felt her stomach twist. "What are you talking about?" Jake hesitated, searching for the right words. "There's something tied to your past, Tyler. Something Sarah uncovered, things that were meant to be buried." "What sort of things?" Tyler's voice was low, his brow furrowing deeper. "Things about your family. About your father's involvement in scandals that could come back to haunt you. And that's not all. Sarah knows about your relationship with me." The silence that followed was almost deafening. The pieces of their past began to fall into place, a jigsaw puzzle that felt like it was rearranging itself. Anguish flickered in Tyler's eyes, the burden of secrets weighing down like a stone in his heart. "I thought I dealt with it all. I thought I faced it." Tyler's voice cracked like ice breaking, the fragility of his composure slipping away. Emily felt a rush of sympathy but also fear. They were standing on the precipice again, their lives in turmoil, forced to confront the past like a monster in the shadows. Jake's gaze shifted to Emily, his expression softening. "I wouldn't have come if there wasn't a chance to help. But you both need to understand this could change everything." As the clock ticked ominously in the background, Emily's heart raced. They were staring down a darkness that threatened to consume them whole. In that moment, she realized they weren't just battling for their family, they were wrestling with their very identities, their truths hanging precariously in the balance. Would they rise from the ashes, or would the ghosts of their past drag them down? As fear clutched at her throat, a bitter sense of resolve settled in. There was no turning back now. What would Jake reveal next, and could the truth really set them free? Emily's breath grew shallow as she looked at Jake, her heart pounding in her chest like a restless drum. The revelations were cascading over her, an avalanche of past mistakes intertwined with the present darkness. Tyler, sitting beside her, faced Jake with a mix of fear and defiance. "What do you mean by my relationship with you?" he demanded, his voice strained yet protective. Jake kept his eyes on Emily, bypassing the tension crackling between them. "It's not just about you, Tyler. It's about everyone involved. Your family's past is messy, and if this contract comes to light, it could affect your future with Emily, with the kids. And it would hurt so many around you. What do you know about my family?" Tyler interrupted, his anger rising. "That's not the point." Jake held a hand up, a gesture of urgency. "The point is we need to get ahead of this. If Sarah is aware she's made her moves, you need to understand how deep the roots go. It's bigger than just business. It impacts your life, your marriage, everything." Emily sensed the weight of Jake's words as they hung in the air. "What kind of involvement are we talking about?" she pressed, voice steady, though uncertainty rippled through her, tugging at her heart like an insistent child. "Let's just say there are some people who want to keep the past buried. And while they may have scared Tyler into silence, the truth has a way of spiraling out when least expected. Especially in the name of family," Jake said, looking deeply at Tyler, whose shoulders sagged under the weight of the conversation. Emily felt the mix of anguish and anger resonate within her. "So what, we're supposed to just sit here and hope it doesn't explode?" She turned to Tyler, needing clarity. "Is this what you meant when you said you faced your past? Are you trying to save us from something before it destroys everything?" Tyler's face fell, pain washing over him. "I thought I could deal with it, clean it up. I had no idea how far-reaching it was. I honestly didn't think any of this would shock you so much you thought wrong." She shot back, frustration clawing at her throat. "Your silence has only added to the pile of lies. How can we build anything if the ground is riddled with secrets?" "Emily, enough," she interrupted, not wanting to hear his excuses. "We need to focus on what's ahead, and for that, we need to come clean." The thought of the children, they were the anchor in this storm. They needed a family, a unit forged in truth rather than shadows. "Jake, what should we do?" Emily asked, her voice softening slightly as she turned to face him, begging for some semblance of clarity amidst the chaos. "Start by confronting Sarah," he replied, his expression grave. "Get all the facts. If she knows something, you must bring it to light yourself rather than let it blow up in your faces later." Tyler nodded slowly, processing Jake's words. "You really believe this could ruin us?" "It can," Jake said, offering a haunting nod. "But it can also clear the air for you to build back what's meant to be there. You need to reclaim the narrative before it's turned against you." Emily felt a surge of hope mixed with fear, her grip on reality tightening as she considered their future. "It's time to choose honesty, Tyler. No more walls. No more avoiding." As Tyler met her gaze, she saw flickers of resolve stacked bricks within him, building something anew. "All right," he finally said. "Let us do it. We face this together." Jake stood, his demeanor shifting to one of urgency. "I'll reach out to Sarah. We can set up a meeting together to discuss everything. This is your chance to reclaim your future, and I'll be there to support both of you." As Jake made to leave, the air shifted heavy yet hopeful. Emily felt the weight of resolve bear down on them. The storm was far from over, but perhaps it was the catharsis they needed to rise out of the ashes of their prior selves. "Thank you, Jake," she said sincerely as he opened the door. "Just be ready for any fallout." "It won't be easy, but it's necessary," he replied as he slipped out into the night. Turning back to Tyler, she felt a tremor of fear quiver through her but matched it with a pulse of determination. "We can do this," she whispered, closing the door and sealing the chaos outside for now. "Together," he affirmed, taking her hand. In that moment, they stood bonded not just as husband and wife, but as allies confronting their demons. Though storms might rage outside and within, they would weather it together, one intentional step at a time. And as the shadows of the past loomed large, Emily made a silent promise to herself: no matter what the outcome, they would fight for the love that had first drawn them together. The battles ahead would be daunting, but the vision of brighter days lay ahead as long as they held on to each other with unwavering strength and commitment. From that moment forward, Emily's heart felt lighter, ignited by hope. It was clear they were about to redefine their story, and this time, it would be crafted in truth. But now, as the clock ticked closer to the next day's looming confrontation with Sarah, the weight of tomorrow felt no less burdensome. "Here we go," she whispered to herself, resolutely. And indeed this was just the beginning of a journey she never thought she'd have to take. If you resonate with Emily and Tyler's struggle and transformation through this narrative, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for more inspiring content. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and share in the stories that matter. We want to hear your thoughts and feelings. Comment below, and let us know how this ending made you feel. Don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this powerful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to support us and be part of this amazing journey.